So Marvel has revealed half of the cast for Avengers Doomsday, and the movie is now officially in production. The reason I say half of the cast because it has been confirmed this isn't the full cast for this movie. And Robert Downey Jr. even said on a post on Instagram or Twitter that there was more to come. So this isn't the whole cast reveal for this movie. This movie, with just half this cast, this movie is definitely gonna be jam packed. Same with Secret Wars. Like I think these next two Avengers movies are gonna have even from this half of this cast for this movie. I already feel like it's bigger than cast wise from those past two Avengers movies. Like I think these next two movies are going to even have more characters than those past two Avengers movies when it comes to Avengers Infinite and Endgame. Now I can see a lot of fans being disappointed in this review video because it wasn't some big splashy reveal. It wasn't at some like event or anything like that. But for me, the one thing I think fans need to keep in mind, and for me personally, is that look, this isn't the full cast reveal. I could see them putting out a second video where they put out more of a bigger video and it's more of a and they put out more of a splashy and make it more an event. Then again, this movie still has some time before it comes out, and mainly, like I said, this isn't a full cast. So I think fans should keep that in mind personally when it comes to the way they reviewed the cast for this movie. I get why fans would be disappointed that they wanted a bigger Disney to put out like something bigger than just like showing the chairs and the actors' names and back in the chairs. I totally get it. Like, look, do I think this reveal video is like the best reveal video in the world for a cast for like an event movie like Avengers? No, but I like the video. Like, I didn't have a problem with the way it was revealed. I can totally understand fans wanting something more bigger and splashy with the reveal for these Avengers for this Avengers movie when it comes to the cast. I totally get that. For me, it worked. Like I like the shot of seeing like slowly going down each name on the back of the chair, and then you see Robbie Downey Jr. at the end of the video. Like I liked it personally. It worked for me, but I totally understand why fans would be disappointed in this review video not being bigger. Since these, like I said, these are event movies. Like I compare Avengers movies to me to the Super Bowl, where like these are the Super Bowl for the MCU. Like you have all that MCU movies, but these are the big ones. These are gigantic. These are like the biggest to me. These are the biggest MCU movies, and these are the ones when people think of like MCU. This is the brand name for MCU Avengers. Like these are the event movies. So I can totally understand people wanting just a bigger splashy reveal for the cast of this movie. Now I'm gonna do all the cast members, and we're just gonna go through each of them individually. Because I definitely think there's one I'm really surprised by, and then there's a couple of surprises, and there's ones that I totally understand why these characters would be in this. There's some people that I'm missing, but again, this isn't the full cast reveal for this movie, and you still have Secret Wars, which is going to be packed too. So I can see where I do think you're most likely gonna see some cast members that won't reveal yet for this movie. And some of those characters could appear in Secret Wars too, where maybe there'll be characters that won't be in this movie, but they'll be in Secret Wars. So who knows? When it comes to the cast so far for this movie, first one is we have Thor. Which I'm glad to hear that he's an OG Avenger. You only have three of the OG Avengers left around, him, Hawkeye, and Hulk. So it makes sense he would be back for the next Avengers movie. I'm hoping he goes back to Thor, the first three Thor movies, because Thor Ragnarok was my favorite. I think they had a great balance to his fun and serious Thor. Thor Love and Thunder, you know, I hope he goes back to more Thor, to how Thor was like in the first three movies, and less of the goofy Thor in Thor Love and Thunder. Yeah, the Invisible Woman, which makes total sense. Like I think the Fantastic Four are gonna play big roles in these Avengers movies with Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars because Fantastic Four, the MCU version of Fantastic Four is going to be from a different Earth. You're gonna have the Fantastic Four movie coming out. Doctor Doom's the main villain of the Fantastic Four, like the main villain in the comics, the most popular Fantastic Four villain. I thought this was also, as a side thing, I thought it was really cool nugget that you see Peter Pastel's name right before Robert Downey Jr. since in the comics Miss Fantastic and Doctor Doom are rivals when it comes to them being some of the smallest characters in the comics and Doctor Doom being jealous about how smart Reed is. So I thought that was a cool little nugget there. You see that his share is right next to Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing Doctor Doom. So I thought that was just cool, personally. But yeah, the Fantastic Four members with the Invisible Woman. You have Anthony Mackie as a new Cap going to be in it, which makes sense. You need a Captain America. And also, if you watch Captain America Brave New World, it answers one of the things people have been asked about is what's going on with Avengers. And clearly in that movie, it's set up that he's going to rebuild Avengers, it's going to be a new team. And I could see him being like leader or co-lead. But he is the new Captain America. So to me, I do think we need to have him in the next Avengers movies. Like, it'd be weird not having an Avengers movie and not have like some version of Cap in there or the new Cap in there. So I'm glad that he's gonna be in it. Anthony Mackie. Yeah, Bucky, which makes sense. This cast list does confirm all Thunderbolt members are gonna be in this movie outside of one, which I do think this is interesting. Now, whether this, because I've seen some theories about this with the fact they've confirmed the all the Thunderbolt cast members outside of one cast member, which is Taskmaster. Because I know people have the theories going around that Taskmaster is going to get killed off at the end of Thunderbolts. Or maybe early in the movie, which I don't think this really confirms that. Because, again, this isn't a full cast reveal. So, they could be saving Taskmaster to be revealed on the second part of the cast list for this movie. And plus, you still have Secret Wars, so Taskmaster could still be in Secret Wars. But it is interesting that all the Thunderbolts members are confirmed to be in Doomsday, but Taskmaster. And if you watch the trailers for Thunderbolts, you don't see Taskmaster too much in the trailers. And I kind of noticed, I think in the trailers, it's like Taskmaster's in kind of the same scenes in the trailers, so you don't see too much of the character. So I don't think that necessarily confirms that Taskmaster is going to die in Thunderbolts, or this, like, confirms theories that Taskmaster, like I said, is not going to make it through Thunderbolts, and she's not going to be in this movie. Like I said, this isn't a full cast reveal. You still have Secret Wars, so who knows? But it is interesting. And then you have Black Panther's sister, who's the new Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which makes sense. You know, you have some of the Black Panther characters, and she is currently the new Black Panther. I don't think she'll stay Black Panther permanently in the future, though. I do think they're either going to recast his Charlie character, or you're going to have his son, which they showed at the end of Wakanda Forever, take up the mantle of Black Panther at some point in the MCU. I don't think she'll be Black Panther permanently in the future. Again, that's just that's just a theory I have, so we'll see. But it makes total sense she'll be in it, and I really liked her character, so I'm glad she'll be back. You have Namor the Submarine, which I'm glad to hear that. I know there was some controversy with that actor, so I was kind of curious if he was even going to be back, or if they were going to like recast the character with all the controversy with the actor. But I'm glad he'll be back. I thought he was great as a character, and I did love the character in Wakanda Forever. So I do want to see more of Namor the Submarine. And they hinted, and they even said he is a mutant. So I do, it makes sense that he'll be in the next Avengers movie. And then you have Ant-Man, Paul Rudd. So I'm glad to see he'll be back. I mean, I love Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. You have U.S. Agent, more of the Thunderbolts. The Thing, more of the Fantastic Four. You have Shang-Chi, which I'm really excited to see Shang-Chi back because we haven't seen a Shang-Chi character since this movie, and to me, the Shang-Chi movie is one of the best movies of the MCU. Like, it's one of my favorite movies of the multiverse saga, and with the fact that we're not going to be getting a Shang-Chi sequel anytime soon, because you have the director doing Spider-Man 4, I'm glad we're going to see the character again. Like, it just, like I said, we haven't seen him since his own movie, and I've been really dying to see more of his character. Like, we saw him in What If, a version of the character in the last season of What If. But I'm just glad to see that you'll see his character, Samuel Liu, as the character again. And then let's see here, you have the Thing, more of the Fantastic Four members. You have Elena, more of the Thunderbolts members. Kelsey Grammer as Beast. So I'm glad to see that too. He's a great piece. And if you saw it was either the mid-credit scene or post-credit scene in the mall. I can't remember that movie had 2 or 1 scenes, but one of the credit scenes, where that movie had 2-in-1, there was a credit scene that showed Kelsey Grammer talking to Monica as Beast, and even the actor said in any movies it sounds like he was gonna be back for a couple of appearances. And honestly, I think with those next two Avengers movies, I think you're gonna see a lot of Fox era X-Men characters. Like I think after the next Avengers movies, the MCU is just gonna. I do think after the next two Avengers movies, and this is a theory I have, where I think the MCU is gonna be rebooted where mutants have existed this whole time, where they're gonna like reboot the MCU, and I do think Marvel is definitely gonna do their own version of the X-Men because I do think you need to do that. But I do think in these next two Avengers movies, especially with this half of this cast list, which shows some Fox era X-Men members, this pretty much confirms you're gonna see a couple of Fox era X-Men members. I'm glad to see he'll be back. The secondary, the actor who's gonna be playing Bob in Thunderbolts, was I'm excited to see that too because I'm really excited for that character. He's an extremely powerful character in the comics. So I'm curious how he's going to be used in this in the Avengers movie with how powerful he is in the comics. But I'm glad to see that he'll be back in the Avengers movie. You have a new Falcon, which makes sense. He's Anthony Mackie as a new Cap. The Falcon is you have a new Falcon and Captain America, which is Anthony Mackie's Cap's character sidekick. So it makes sense that the new Falcon will be in the next Avengers movie. And I actually really love this character from Captain America: Brave New World. You have Human Torch, so another Fantastic Four member. You have Red Guardian, love Red Guardian, and another Thunderbolts member. You have Bakura, which is one of the Black Panther characters from the movies, which I love this character, and another Black Panther character. You have Ghost, the Thunderbolts member. Loki, which I'm glad to hear that because we saw the end of season 2 of Loki, and even the show Loki was ties in the multiverse elements. I feel like you need to have Loki at least in one of these next two Avengers movies with the way season 2 ended. Like I feel like it would be weird if he's not part of this story in some way. So I'm glad to hear that. And Tom Hiddleston was great as Loki, so I love the character and I love the show. You have Professor X with Patrick Stewart, so I'm glad to see that. I'm not surprised he'll be back though because he did appear on Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness, and I feel like the actor kind of hinted that it sounds like he was going to be back again to play the character. And then Ian McKellen Magneto, I think, is one of the really exciting ones because you haven't seen him since X-Men Days Future Past, and he's great as that character. And they haven't shared the screen together, him and Patrick Stewart as a character since X-Men Days Future Past. So I'm glad to see Ian McKellen will be back. Like he's fantastic as Magneto, so he's one of those Fox era X-Men members I definitely was hoping to see in these next two Avengers movies, in one of them. Or, maybe he'll be in both of them, but I'm glad to see he'll be back for one of them, at least so far. And then you have, this is the one that surprised me the most personally, and this is one I'm really hyped up about, too, is that Alan Cummings going to be back in Nightcrawler, and as someone who loves Nightcrawler, his version of Nightcrawler in X2, this is still my favorite Fox era version of Nightcrawler. Like, I thought the actor who played Nightcrawler in X-Men Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix was great as a young Nightcrawler, but Alan Cullen is my favorite Nightcrawler out of the two. The reason it surprised me the most is because I remember he never wanted to play the role again after X2 because of the fact that it was so much prosthetic and makeup he had to put on, and it was hours of going through that makeup. And that's the reason why he didn't do X-Men: The Last Stand. I remember seeing anybody's made it clear that he just didn't enjoy the experience of having to put on all that makeups, and it didn't sound like he was ever going to play the character again. So he's the most surprising in this, and I never thought he'll be back to play Nightcrawler again. But I'm so glad he will be. The opening scene in X2 is still one of the best opening scenes in a comic book movie, and he's just fantastic in that movie. He was one of my favorite characters from the Fox era X-Men movies. And then you have Rebecca Romijn as Mystique, so I'm glad to see that. If you haven't seen her since X-Men First Class, where she made a cameo where Jennifer Lawrence transformed into her. But I'm glad to see her back because I loved her as Mystique. I thought Jennifer Lawrence was great as Mystique in X-Men First Class and Days Future Past. Wasn't a fan of her in Dark Phoenix and Apocalypse. I felt like she just kind of phoned it in, and you can really tell she wanted to not play that character anymore. And I'm just not a fan of the way they made her a hero. Rebecca Romijn is my favorite Mystique of the two, though, so I'm glad to see you have another OG Fox era X-Men character back. And then you have, this is one I'm really excited about. Also, is James Marsden as Cyclops. The actor who plays Cyclops in the original Fox era X-Men movies. He played Cyclops in X-Men 1, 2, X-Men The Last Stand, and then he made a cameo in X-Men Days of Future Past at the end. I'm glad to see him back because as a Cyclops fan, we always felt like that character got treated like crap in the Fox movies. I always felt like he was a great Cyclops, but I just always felt like when you get to X2, he just like gets tossed aside and they just kill him off at X-Men Last Stand. Which I understand that wasn't entirely his fault. He was doing Superman Returns and that film at the same time, so he can only be used for a limited amount of time at X-Men Last Stand. But he's one of the original 5 members of X-Men. He's the original leader of the X-Men. To me, it's like I always felt bad for the actor. I'm like, he's a great character. Like the '90s X-Men anime series, and even the original anime series, I think that's one of the best versions of the Cyclops. Like to me, in that series, you see how much of a great leader he is to the X Men, and why he's one of the most strategic leaders when it comes to strategies, and how he's a great leader in the field. And it's how that show did a great job of showing how important Cyclops is to the X Men. He's an OG member. He is the original leader, and I'm glad to see James Madison will be back. I'm hoping they treat his character better in this. I'm also hoping we see some of these Fox X-Men characters in the actual comic book uniforms, and like I I don't want to see them in the black leather uniforms from the Fox movies. Like let's actually see them in some of the like costumes in this new version. But I'm so glad he'll be back as Cyclops. Like to me, he was a great Cyclops that was underutilized in the Fox era movies, and he's one of those characters where in the Fox movies he was treated poorly, in my opinion. Like as much as I love X United, he's only in the beginning and end of that movie, and he gets tossed aside, and next week they kill him off like he was nothing, which I hated. So just I'm glad to see that he'll get another shot playing the character again. Yeah, Channing Tatum as Gambit was great. Yeah, I loved him as Gambit as Deadpool and Wolverine. I thought they nailed the character down personality wise. And I know some people made fun of his accent, his Cajun accent he had in the movie, and that was one, in my opinion, one of the funniest jokes with Deadpool in the movie, where they made fun of his accent. To me personally, I thought he did a great job with the accent. Like it sounded like a Cajun accent. You watch the X-Men '90s anime show and some anime stuff. He has a very thick Cajun accent, Gambit. So like to me, I thought he was great as Gambit personally. So I'm glad to see he'll be back. And I think there is a deleted scene in Deadpool Wing where it showed, and they even hinted at in Deadpool Wing movie where Deadpool said, "Can you do something for these Fox, like some of the Fox Air characters and Wesley Snipes play? Like, can you do something for them?" And they kind of hinted that they survived. You even saw X-23 at the end of that movie. So Gambit makes sense to be back when it comes to the fact he was in the multiverse connection movie there with Deadpool and Wolverine, and it did in a deleted scene and a scene at the end hinted that he is alive and out there. And I just love Miss Gambit. And then you have Mr. Fantastic. So you have all the Fantastic Four members confirmed. Like I said, I think they're going to play a big role, like I said, because of the fact they're from a different Earth. And they have a connection to the multiverse. So that's the whole cast of Avengers Doomsday so far. And I think this is a great cast so far to get people excited. Like, yes, is there some people you're missing? Where's Chris Evans? Where's Scarlett Johansson? Where's Mark Ruffalo? Where's Sherry Renner? When it comes to like some of the OG actors, and people can say, "Well, where's some of the Fox X-Men characters?" Like, are we going to see some of the Fantastic Four Fox members? Fox era version of Fantastic Four. We're going to see maybe Jennifer Lawrence Electro, or Wesley Blade, and look, there's thousands of characters. I do think there's will be even more surprises with the rest of this cast when they announce the full cast for this movie, and also with the cast for Secret Wars. And I think these two Avengers movies are going to do great because even though the multiverse saga has been very missile hit, and even I can see that where the quality has definitely been inconsistent. These, like I said earlier at the start of this video, I think this video did a great job of getting people excited, and I think I saw online that the video's got a lot of views with the reveal video because it wasn't some big flash reveal, but at the end of the day, these are Avengers movies, and I think like the Super Bowl, when I compare them to the Super Bowl, even if your team doesn't make it into the Super Bowl, you're gonna watch the Super Bowl, and that's how I feel about these Avengers movies. Unless these movies end up being really bad or mediocre, which I don't see that happen with the fact that even though I have some worry with the Russo brothers since the track record outside of the MCU hasn't been great, when it comes to them working with the MCU, they deliver four great movies. I have complete trust in the Russo brothers when it comes to the MCU movies. I'm a little worried outside of the fact they haven't really done any very good. They haven't really made any very good movies outside of the MCU movies, but the 4 for 4 when it comes to MCU at least. And I think overall, this was a exciting reveal when it comes to just seeing the names and who's going to be in this movie. And I do think this is going to be, one of the most packed casts. Like I think this and Secret Wars are going to be even way more packed than Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame was, and those movies were packed. So to me, this did get me excited. I am excited for the next two Avengers movies. I am excited to see what the other half of this cast reveal is going to be for this movie and who else is going to be in it. And I know you also didn't see Scarlet Witch because Elizabeth Olsen said she's not going to be in that Avengers movie, which I don't buy that personally. Like, you don't see her die in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I also think if you ask Agatha and I feel like, and she's talked about that, that sounds like she could be back at some point. And I don't completely buy that she won't be in it. And then you have other people saying, well, you don't see Tom Holland Spider-Man. I still think he has a chance to be in it too because the actor Tom Holland, he's going to be doing Spider-Man 4. And like I said, this isn't the full cast reveal for this movie. And you still have Secret Wars. And I know Spider-Man has a cast in the Secret Wars in the comics. There was no Secret Wars story in the comics where you got the black suit. So I do think you're gonna see these. I do think you're gonna see some these other characters like the Hawk, or Hawkeye, or Scarlet Witch, or Spider Man. Like some of these characters that they haven't messed in. I do think they're gonna be part of the cast for the second half of the reveal for this movie. And I think even if they're not, I think there's definitely a high chance they'll be in Secret Wars. So we'll see who else is gonna be in the next two movies. But I think overall, great cast so far for this movie. I'm definitely excited to see who else is going to be in these next two Avengers movies. So that's my thoughts on the cast reveal for Avengers Doomsday. Until next time, movie fans.